Positioning breakdown. The phases of battle. The question I ask myself here, am I free to move? Is the opponent 2 character distances away? Then I shall act accordingly. We are in neutral phase. We're in the neutral state of the game where we're playing around for space, and we're also trying to land an attack on the opponent or make contact with the opponent so that we can begin to generate an offense. If you are being hit, then we are being pressured and must act to further avoid damage, as they're at frame advantage due to landing a hit. Whenever you actually land an attack on an opponent, oftentimes we're busy looking at what the attack does on block, or what it is on block for the sake of returning with a block punish, as certain attacks have so much end lag that you can actually attack them before they land and they cannot block it. But once we actually land an attack on the opponent, usually the frames on hit are different than the frames on block. Let's take our mid for example. Down forward 1 is -2 on block. That's not bad. That's a lot of frames to move around. Even though it's negative, that's enough frames for me to consider taking my turn and generating a flow-like offense. Like I could do down forward 1 and 1. Retaliate at an opponent that's maybe weighing their options and is not sure what to do. Or may catch somebody stepping if I continue the string, because 1-2-1 naturally tracks. Or I could do down forward 1 and down 1 if I think you're just going to be stuck stand blocking. I can do down forward 1 and then block just to see if you're crouching for whenever I choose an option. There's several branching ways that it can go, and you'll be answering and trying to download the opponent as you play them. Down forward 1 on hit is +5. And that's a big difference between -2. That's about 7 frames. If I actually hit this attack at +5, I mean certain other attacks are uninterruptible. If I hit this and then do back 1, there's nothing you can do standing, even armor, that can stop me. Okay, so back 1 loses. Nix that. Alright, so down forward 1 and back 1, even though that doesn't work because I think the armor starts at frame 7 +5, and my back 1 will come out at frame 8. So it's just slow enough for it to not work. If it were 1 frame, it would trade, or 1 frame faster, it would trade. Or if this was +6. But what we do get is, you notice that if I do down forward 1 on hit and then jab, even though the opponent is set up to do an armor move, they can't handle it. See, if I do down forward 1, even though I'm +5 on hit and I do another down forward 1, that armor still has time to activate. If I were to do down forward 1, get a hit and do a jab, the opponent cannot compete with this, and in fact I get a counter hit. We rely on several of these type interactions to snowball victory with Steve Fox. Alright, to further iterate on our positioning breakdown, we're going to go over certain positions as well. We're not going to go over all of them, but I'm going to go over this one so I can make my point a little bit clearer. We were at neutral position in the center of the stage before, but at the wall, or at certain stage hazards, when you have a wall behind you, or if you have a wall break or a floor break, there are certain moves that actually gain priority over other moves, as they are on higher alert to avoid or to pursue if they're in this position. For instance, against the wall, this is where Steve gains a lot of advantage because he has access to a pretty fast 50-50. That 50-50 being foot stomp, which comes out at 16 frames, or rocket launcher, a mid that comes out in 16 frames. So it's a low that comes out in 16 frames that is +4 on hit when I cancel it, or a mid that is 16 frames that will wall splat the opponent for full combo and cause a lot of damage. So it's either continuous mix up or get wall splat. Your opponent will have to time this wisely. They don't have a lot of time to armor. The plus frames that we get here are enough to win. Point is, certain attacks are higher priority at certain positions. Certain attacks get stronger based on their position. Certain homing mid attacks near the wall that push back, or fast attacks that push back, gain higher priority at the wall as they then become launchers due to their wall splat ability. Primarily fast and homing mids that wall splat are high alert. Jabs are the universal plus frame move. Very fast, and they have the most advantage. They're plus on block and even more plus on hit. Also have very fast recovery frames. Easily beat armor and start over again. I can add it with movement. I can jab and then immediately sidestep to have like a baiting strategy. Like the opponent's gonna power crush, I can jab, step, and gain advantage in this way. Moves with quick recovery are great with movement. You can use them to mix up your offense and give it a different look. Jab on hit is +8. A lot of people overlook that. That is massive advantage for very, very little risk.
Don't blink.
I could either be +1 or +8. Why are you not using this all the time? You can block like immediately afterwards too. That's a huge part of the opening gambit, is the jab. This can get predictable in the fact that it is a high hit level, which means it has the natural latent weakness of being crouch blocked and while standing launcher. But this is the advantage that we work with. It has very fast frames of recovery. Thus it is good for gaining quick advantage in the fast break. Timing and waiting a moment before continuing offense is another way of continuing the opening gambit. Chip damage and recoverable health is a relatively new feature in Tekken, and is also a feature that can gain you an early advantage in the opening gambit. This string, jab and down forward 1, which leads to your mid coming out at 12 frames. Because we go jab for the +1, down forward 1 for the 12 frame. We shave the frame off. If we were to do this, even in this game, nothing really happens if the opponent stand blocks. The only way to break through this would be to do a low or a grab. But now we have an added way to deal with stand block, which is chip damage. So we have several attacks in the game, like Flicker 2, that actually deal white life, or ducking forward 2. Several attacks that hurt the opponent even though we haven't dealt a solid blow to them, because we can hit them after dealing damage, and in heat we deal even more chip damage. It's a way to hurt the opponent even though we're not landing a blow. But we can use this advantage to open the opponent up to a mistake, because we see their health being chipped away even though they're blocked. And we can also force this mistake by prioritizing attacks that have additional properties as well as chip damage. For example, Flicker 2 is one of the best moves that Steve has. Anyway, so I can do something like jab, sidestep, and some Flicker 2. Something that's simple. If they block it, they just took damage. They get hit, they're taking okay. If they get hit counter hit, this is a launcher. This is one of the best moves that we have. How to get in, how to re-engage the opening gambit. Steve can play from a variety of ranges, but his best range, in my opinion, is right outside of rocket launcher range, where B1 will catch most strange attacks, and Outfox can evade a potential Demon Paw. I mean by Demon Paw, a mid that can reach out and attack you with very little risk. It's safe, and it usually leads to a heat engager. This would be Lee's forward 3, Jin's forward 2, Kazuya's forward 2. Moves like that. Moves that have a very straightforward mid-spear-like hitbox property to it. Alright, so how do we take this information and generate an opening of the opponent? The match starts, and we're figuring out what to do. Well, we know the best lead up to an opponent would be the jab. The jab will not steer you wrong. For even if they decide to duck this, it would have to be a very targeted duck in order for them to actually punish the speedy recovery. So leading with the jab is not an entirely bad strategy, though it is one that, if not mixed up, can lead to the opponent punishing you. Very fast, plus on block, plus on hit, extremely strong, and it's fast recovery. This is one of the best attacks to lead with. You'll see this used in high level play to generate an offense. If we were to jab and then follow it up with a mid attack, now we're focusing on two attacks and how they interact with each other. We do the jab, down forward one. We can use this for opponents that will crouch after getting their offense tapped. But we won't know this unless we just continue to play them and observe their habits.